Special night tonight, senior night. We got a chance to honor 8 student athletes, 7 players, and a student manager who's been here 4 years. And, if you were to write a script, I don't know if it would be any better than that when you think about what these guys have been through during their college experiences. From COVID to Brooks and Parker's journey to everybody else's. And I just thought tonight they played incredibly well and really connected. These last 2 games, our defense, I think, has returned to the form it was in December and early January. I thought our crowd was electric. It just, the atmosphere when you look around sometimes, and whether it's the band, whether it's the dance team, our guys making threes, defensive stops, at the student section, it was really electric, and just so grateful to everybody, our administration, marketing, everybody who worked so hard to create that atmosphere, and then to our players for performing the way they did, and my staff who, Mike Maker works with the offense, Kenny Lowe and Cam Rundles with the defense and personnel, Josh Rodenbiker, Dennis Harrington. It's such a collective effort, and it's a joy to coach these guys, and very proud of where we are at in year 3 of our transition from Division III to Division I, but also just so happy tonight to send these seniors off on that kind of night when they performed so incredibly well.
Yeah, it just seems like the story just continues to add layer after layer after layer with Brooks, Parker, Raheem. Tonight was just a perfect ending to their time here in St. Paul. You got a little girl that loves being around these guys. 10, 15 years from now when she can kind of understand everything, what are you going to tell her about these guys in this era?
Yeah, I mean, all day she was talking about the Tommies, and she doesn't know anything about basketball other than she loves these guys. We had the good fortune to go to Italy this summer. You can do an international trip once every 4 years, and an unbelievably generous gift. We went there, and she was with them for 10 days, and I think at one point it was probably Brooks with his wry humor. He's like, for a 2-year-old, she wasn't as annoying as I thought she'd be. Something along that. And because she just looks at these guys and she wants to be around them all the time. But it's not just Issa. I think the kids in our community. I think 10 years from now, people are going to continue to talk about these guys and these teams in the early years because of what they're building, right? That we always talk about a proud past and a bright future. And I think that's very appropriate. But the way these guys play, the unselfishness, the toughness, it to me as a parent, I love having her watch them. But kids who come to our camps, just the number of people who watch them play, and sometimes it's overused to say they play basketball the right way, but we had 20 assists, 6 turnovers. You see guys diving on the floor. You see guys on the bench who are celebrating their teammates. It just, we talk a lot about competitive joy, and I think these guys embody it, and we're so blessed to have so many seniors who in different roles all exhibit that. And some of them are starting for us, and some of them are not playing as many minutes, but to have seniors like that who live that out every single day. When people talk about culture, that's how you have a strong culture. When you have veterans who are selfless and understand what our values are and then live those every single day.
Coach, how important is it to have those bench guys who can make an immediate impact upon coming in, especially as you get into the tournament?
Yeah, I think, depth has always been something as a coach that I valued for a lot of reasons. 1, it protects you against foul trouble. 2, it protects you against injuries. 3, I think it keeps more people involved where it just, and 4, to play the tempo we want to play, both on offense and defense, it requires a lot of bodies. And so, our starters are incredible, but I know those guys, when they come off the floor, they feel fortunate that, okay, these guys are going to come in and not just give us a rest, but they may actually stretch the lead out, and now we come back refueled, re-energized. And so it's, to me, starting has always been overrated. You have to start 5 guys. Sometimes you got 9 or 10 guys that could all start on really good teams. And so I think our guys buy into their roles and they understand it. It's part of the beauty of sports is you work all year to develop yourself individually, and then all of a sudden you come together collectively, and they compete against each other every day, and they want some of those 200 minutes. But then on game night, it's whatever your role is, you're going to do that to your best of your ability. And for some, it's literally cheering on their teammates. And you see it on the bench. It's not phony. Like, we show it a lot in film. These guys love playing with one another, but they cheer for one another where you can see they really love each other.
You talked about the competitive joy a little bit earlier. I think that stands out, especially on the defensive end. Guys like Ben Now, Ryan Dufault, when they come in, they truly take pride in locking up score on the other team. And once again, that happened tonight. You've had two teams come in here this weekend, two of the top offenses, and just shut them down. What's to just say about those guys?
Yeah, I mean, Ben and Ryan are two guys that if you watched them in high school, they were prolific scorers, and that was not their only role, but I mean, they probably scored 3,000 points between the two of them in high school. I don't know what their numbers were, but something like that. And you watch them now, and they could care less if they shoot. If the game dictates they should shoot, they do, but their hallmark is what kind of energy they bring. And sometimes, you look, there was that weird stretch today where there wasn't a media timeout or a whistle for quite a bit, and I think we went from about 17 or 18 minutes down to 14 minutes, and everybody on the court's gassed. And all of a sudden, those two come in the game, and that it provides not just a rest for guys, but I think the energy of the guys who are on the court tired. Well, all of a sudden you got Ryan and Benny flying around and doing what they do, creating havoc. That's contagious. And the not caring about how much they score, whether it's those guys. I mean, Brooks tonight took 3 shots, and that's just Brooks Allen, right? 5 points, 3 assists. His numbers don't stand out, yet there's a reason why his plus-minus over the course of his career has been so incredible, because he doesn't care about what do his numbers look like. He cares about the scoreboard, and I think that's passed down. When you talk about culture, where did Benny and Ryan learn that? Well, part of it, they learned it from a guy like Brooks.
John, did you defend Warner differently tonight than you did out in Denver?
I mean, he's the leading scorer in the nation. I think, you go into a game like this, just like on Thursday against Frankie Fiddler. I mean, those are two of the best scorers in mid-major basketball, and not just scorers, but they're really efficient. If you look at their numbers from 3, from 2, from the free throw line, they both get to the line a ton. And so I think, if anything, our guys were committed. It's not just going to be one guy, right? So Drake and Ryan did a tremendous job, I think, chasing them around. But I thought our posts were great in ball screen coverages and handoffs, helping one another, and then it's the guy on the weak side helping our post. It was really a 5-man effort, but it's not, going to a game saying, hey, we're going to shut out the nation's leading scorer. You say, let's not put him at the line, let's not give him layups, let's make him take tough shots, and I think our guys, as the season has gone on, have really come to trust sort of that philosophy and trust one another, that just do your job, and when we're connected on defense, that's when we're, I think, really, really good.
Coach, you mentioned trying not to let Tommie Jr. get to the line. No one from Denver got to the line until the last couple minutes of the game. What does it take to play hard and aggressive defense without fouls?
Yeah, and well, that's not easy, right? I think part of it is you've got to start in a stance, and you got to show your hands. There are silly fouls that you can get, and we've had some over the last 3 or 4 games where touch fouls that don't really look like much, but referees call what they see, right? And I think our guys are understanding more and more just the importance of, we're not a shot blocking team, so don't jump for shot fakes, right? Don't use your hands, just simple things that, the phrase do your work early. If you do your work early, whether you're a post or a guard, you're going to be in a position where, it sounds simple, but make guys shoot over high hands. And again, to me, that comes back to discipline and trust, that if we do the right thing, we'll live with the outcome, whether it's a possession or a game. Do the right thing, and our guys, part of that is being blessed to have a lot of veterans who understand that, and we also have some young guys that I think continue to get better and better.
Yeah, a couple of your seniors in here. You've told so many stories about them over the past couple of years. What are you gonna miss the most, when next season starts and they're not here?
This is like Jerry Maguire, where he's like, "You're not gonna make me cry, Roy. You're not gonna make me cry," right? And all of a sudden, Cuba Gooding's crying, right? So that's what Tim's trying to do. No, they really are. I think Parker and Brooks and all of our seniors, but those two were around. The other night on the game, they showed a graphic. 4 years ago on leap year, we were playing at St. John's in the MIC championship game. And a week after that, COVID hit. Brooks Allen played 0 minutes in that game. So if you were to say 4 years later, Brooks Allen's going to be on the court all the time, and Parker Bjorklund, who's sitting in the stands, is going to be in the game all the time, and Raheem Anthony, who's playing for a different team in the MIC. We tell the story a lot, but it truly hasn't happened. I think the thing I'm going to remember most is they each have these defining qualities. So if you look at Parker, to me it's his fearlessness, and just he goes against bigger guys every day, but that's his personality trait, right? It's just he's willing to try things in life, and he's not afraid to fail. And that's a beautiful quality and something that's going to serve him well. Brooks is like a coach on the court, and he's always thinking. Each game he has 2 or 3 ideas. We're like, okay, slow down, Brooks. You're either a coach or a player or an official, and you're not an official. even though he tries to be sometimes. You're not a coach, even though he tries to be sometimes. But to me, Brooks is so engaged all the time mentally in the game, and that's part of the beauty, right? He is like a coach on the court where he's not thinking about how do I get my own shot. He's looking around saying, how do we get the right matchups? How do we get Parker the ball in the right spot? How do we get Raheem space? And so Brooks is one of the most thoughtful players on the court I've ever coached. And then Raheem, what a joy to only coach him for 1 year. But the way he's come in, and to me, it's whether it's acclimating to a new culture, but also just knowing, I mean, you've seen how dynamic. I think he's one of the most explosive players in college basketball. And yet he went from having the ball in his hands all the time to having the ball in his hands a lot of the time, but playing an unbelievable role. And so these three guys, when Parker's fearlessness, Brooks's thoughtfulness, and Raheem's, I think, adaptability or selflessness, those are probably the three qualities that I'll remember and I think will stay in our culture for a long, long time.
Coach, you've got guys from all 5 positions who are never afraid of the paint and are always ready to crash the boards. Is that something you particularly teach?
Well, I think part of it is that we don't have a 7-footer who's going to grab 15 rebounds a game. And it is the beauty of this team. I think the humility in life to know, who am I, right? The self-awareness. And we have some guys that are phenomenal shooters, other guys who are good shooters, other guys who are decent shooters. And there's a time for the decent shooters to shoot. And if the great shooters are turning down shots to do something, it's understanding and self-awareness. And I think our guys are aware that we're not going to have one guy who just goes out and gets 12 to 15 rebounds a night. And as a result, they buy into, just like defensively, all 5 of us have to collectively rebound. And I think we've gotten way better at that. Tonight, they had 2 offensive rebounds the first half. They got a couple early in the second half, but at halftime, I think we had 89% of their misses. And when we're able to do that, then we can get out and transition and run. So it's something that, but a lot of that, I wouldn't say that's something we coach. It's something you talk about, but you can't beat your players up at this time of the year with rebounding drills. It's more about them just being committed and tough.
Week to go till the tournament. How do you use this full week here as preparation and kind of get the guys ready to keep them sharp but give them rest at the same time?
Yeah, we're off tomorrow. We'll find out tomorrow. Kansas City and Oral Roberts play, so we'll find out definitively who our opponent is. But then, in many ways, it's like preparing. You got a week to prepare, like the conference season. It's also a little bit like an MT, where you obviously don't know how many games you're going to play. The goal is to play 3, and it's you want to go in very rested. So we'll do a lot of skill work this week. We'll talk about our opponent, but more than anything, it's when you're fortunate to have veterans, they understand the task at hand, and I think they'll be ready and refreshed.
Coach, you mentioned not having a big 7-footer like anchoring for you. Does that give you an advantage when being able to switch and not really having any defensive liabilities?
Well, I think certainly it makes us versatile on both ends. That if you look at the way Parker or Brooks or Carter can step out on the perimeter, and we can invert our offense, right? Where all of a sudden Raheem Anthony's in the post, or Ryan Dufault can be finishing around the basket. I think that kind of versatility is something that's always been a hallmark. But defensively, I don't think we want to switch a ton of screens, but I think we have the ability to when we need to, and that's something these guys have gotten better and better at throughout the course of the year, is maybe not predetermining switches, but switching when we have to. And I think even the second layer of that is we've gotten way better at our rotations. If you watch tonight, coming off ball screens, the way our posts are helping our guards, the way our low guy is helping our post, but then that last defender, his ability to sort of play free safety and figure out what's next, that's where I think we've gotten really good on defense the last month.
Last questions?
Brooks had something he was going to chime in with.
Yeah, Brooks down on Shockey Valley News. You have a once-in-a-generational athlete and graduate student in forward. Brooks down. With the most important games coming up next weekend, how do you plan to get him involved, whether that's some drawing up some place for some lobs or just clearing out a floor and letting them showcase that athleticism? Yeah,
I think Brooks's athleticism is unique. He jumps about as well as his dad Eric did. Yeah, Brooks, we'll talk with Coach Maker. You just keep drawing up lobs for Parker and Raheem. How about that? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, it's surreal to say the least. These boys are super special to this community and the rest of us, and it's been super fun. And I think we got great momentum now going into Sioux Falls. So it's not over yet, but we're excited to say the least.
Yeah, especially for me, just a full circle moment. Kind of 4 years ago, I ended a playoff game here as a freshman, and this is my last game in this arena, and I'm just kind of glad I chose to be a Tommie throughout the schools I had in the transfer portal. And a big part of why I chose this is how connected the team was, and we showcased that tonight.
Yeah, the athletic department put out a video a few weeks ago about that game that Raheem mentioned, and just kind of how it was a full circle moment for the three of us. Parker was in the stands, I was on the bench. Raheem was fortunate enough to be on the court. And I'm just super proud to have been given an opportunity here at St. Thomas. That's the reason I came back. I'm sure that's the reason Parker came back as well, and I'm super glad from an outside perspective that Raheem was able to see how special of a program it was too, because he's great to play with.
How do you guys describe the energy at Schoenecker Arena, and how does it compare to the other places you guys play?
It's electric. I mean, it's a smaller gym, and that usually sells out, so it's a great atmosphere in there, and props to the fans. We really feed off that energy, and it really helps us just stay locked in and just having fun out there. So big shout out to the fans that make it out to the Schoenecker Arena.
Yeah, one of the smaller arenas in the Summit League, so when the stands get packed, it's like a jungle in here, and I love it.
Yeah, obviously there's great fans all the way throughout the Summit League, and we do benefit from having a smaller gym, but our fans give us a tremendous home court advantage every night. I mean, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but our win percentage at home has been phenomenal, and that's a big credit to them.
Brooks, your role has changed almost every year in the past 3 years. This year you've really taken on a real defensive presence, and just talk about how everything's changed and how you adapted every year, and then to you guys just what Brooks means to this program, what he brings.
I mean, that's really generous of you saying I bring a defensive presence. I think the thing I do have to bring to the team is, JT's mentioned before, I use my brain as much as I can, because when you got slow feet, not a lot of muscles, you have to if you want to survive out there. But yeah, as far as my role changing, we talk a lot about how dudes that scored 2,000 points in high school have to come in and see a new role. I've actually been fortunate enough where in high school, my senior year, I averaged 9 points a game. My junior year, I was playing JV for the first half and averaged 4 points the second half. So for the past 7 years, essentially, I've had the same role where I'm kind of the glue guy who will take a shot if it's open, but other than that, just know what I'm supposed to do and try to do my best to help the team win.
Yeah, a gem like Brooks, Coach brought it up earlier. A player's coach, a coach sometimes, a referee at times at practice, and you don't find a lot of those on a team. A true glue guy, somebody that kind of just reels us back into reality sometimes when we're either upset or don't know what to run, and Brooks is always there to help us.
Yeah, what he said, Brooks is super valuable to this team. I mean, he won't fill up the stat sheet, but there's a reason he has the best plus-minus on this team. He keeps us organized. He keeps us super connected. Like Raheem said, he's a coach out there for us, and to have a player's coach like that, that really impacts winning. And it's not, it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but it's rare to have a player like that in college basketball that can really bring all those elements and just help us win. So definitely thankful for Brooks.
How does it feel for when you guys get subbed out, to be sitting on the bench and not seeing those bench guys just stay in the game but continue to build a lead?
Sorry, you're talking about like
I'm talking
after
about
like
Ben,
after?
Carter.
Okay, I didn't know if you meant that or like at the end of the game. I mean, we see it every day. Sometimes in practice we're on purple and you'll have Carter and Doof on the gray team, and a lot of days, if not most, they kind of give it to us in practice. So obviously it's something we're super grateful to have, that spark off the bench, but it's really not something that we're surprised about at this point. And I mean, Carter's only a redshirt freshman. He's got 3 more years here. The kid's going to be unbelievable. He already is, honestly.
Yeah, just that spark off the bench. It's great in terms of being a complete team. You got teams in the Summit that kind of only play 6, 7 guys, to where you could wear some of those guys out. Like Doof and Drake, they're so interchangeable that Drake's chasing somebody all around, and 10 seconds later, Doof gets subbed in, and he's doing the exact same thing. Benny and Carter finding their groove within their shot, and it just makes for an unbelievable team.
Yeah, I think our bench is, our depth is, maybe one of the biggest reasons why we're so good. Be able to give us a rest, and you look at these plus minuses. All the best plus minuses are the guys that came off the bench. I mean, they're special. They bring a ton of energy, and I'm definitely going to be back watching them courtside in the next few years. I'm super excited. So.
Yeah, I mean, Parker said best plus minuses, but I think I got to actually say what they were. Carter Bjorklund, 14 minutes, 34 seconds, plus 30. Ryan Dufault, 16 minutes, 31 seconds, plus 28. Ben Now, 15 minutes, 32 seconds, plus 26. Like, that's unreal.
That's pretty spectacular. Raheem, you talk a lot about how the trip to Italy, really helped you gel into this. Kind of a two-part question. Just now that the regular season is over, how, looking back on it, how just describe your experience here, and then to you two, how that trip and molding, Raheem into the team, how much that helped.
Time flies. It felt like just like a month ago we were just in Italy. And I feel like that was just such a great trip to get us connected, especially me coming in as a transfer. The games down there, just the bond that we shared in activities we did within the day, whether that was shopping, boat rides, and et cetera. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, obviously the trip to Italy brought us closer together, brought the whole team closer together. But just throughout the whole summer, Raheem and I would have lifting. We'd go work JT's camp all day, so we spent a lot of time around each other. But at the end of the day, that's lifting, work, and practice. When you get to spend time in Italy, that's a once-in-a-lifetime experience where you're kind of we played some games. Yeah, we had some extra practices that you get from the NCAA for a trip like that, but it was really just away from basketball, just being able to grow tight as a team.
Yeah, pretty much everything they said. Those trips are super underrated. I mean, it brings our team way closer. I mean, we had 3 new freshmen coming in too, so to be able to kind of get that chemistry molded with them is huge. But yeah, same with Raheem. I didn't know him. Brooks knew him a little bit for being in the MIAC, but to be in a different country and really build the chemistry, I think that helped us a ton this entire regular season to just, stay connected and together. So.
Now we got friendship bracelets.
Mine's over there.
One last one for you, Parker. 17 points tonight. I know coming into the weekend you were somewhere in the 50s as far as points behind JT on the career list. I don't know if you know that or not, but you're close to passing him. A game or two in Sioux Falls, if you could. Just the relationship that you have with him. How much would that mean to say, "Hey, coach, I have more points than you"?
Yeah, that'd be. I didn't even know that, to be honest. But yeah, that's pretty cool. If I do hit it, I'm definitely gonna give him a little hard time about it. But if it wasn't for JT, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be winning. So huge credit to him and the rest of the coaching staff for doing such an unbelievable job with us and helping us win.
If your minutes start going down, you know why.
You know exactly, boy.
Yeah, there's this cool little chain that when you look at the coaches who have played here, all the head coaches have kind of played for each other. You guys have any coaching aspirations in the future?
Yeah, down the line. That'd be cool to coach.
No for me, but
Be cool to coach.
I help out with like an AAU team in the spring and summer, which is fun, but I don't know if it's something I'd make a career out of. It's really you're working nonstop, and it's kind of a thankless job. If you're not winning, you're canned, and if you are, I don't know. Then I guess you do get thanked if you're winning.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
thank you.